the CCP has recently tried to claim that there was some kind of gentleman's agreement between the Philippines and the China over resupply missions to the Sierra Madre, like how many ships could go, and like they agreed to let a certain number, and they accuse the Philippines of violating that, and that's why they're attacking these resupply ships now. What do you think of that?
Uh, this is, I think, another way by which they've been trying to change the narrative and revise history. What they're banking on, from what I can tell, is they're trying to make it appear that there was an agreement, that the Philippines would only send one ship with only supplies for humanitarian reasons to the troops there, but we would not bring anything else that would, for example, contribute to the repair and maintenance of the ship. Um, I think they're trying to make use of a statement that was made during the Aquino administration back in 2013 when they first blocked a resupply mission, where I think either the foreign minister or the defense minister publicly said that basically in explaining or in telling China not to interfere, no, they gave an assurance that the vessels they were sending there were only bringing supplies for the troops. And in that context, they were trying to bring tensions down. No? And this is 2014. So they use that. I think what they're doing is that they use that to say that there's actually some kind of an agreement. Okay? Uh, but lately, they've also been, again, changing the story. No? They said it was, at some point, they said it was a gentleman's agreement. Okay, which in the first place, if it's a gentleman's agreement, then necessarily it's a non-binding agreement. No? So why are you trying to force us to follow a gentleman's agreement? Then they said that, oh, it was during the Duterte administration. Okay, but Duterte then came out saying that there was some kind of agreement, but then when he was talking about it, he could not even he said that actually he did not even know about the Sierra Madre and the Second Thomas Shoal at the time of this supposed agreement. So how could he make an agreement? So later they changed the story again. This time it's not with Duterte, but with a special envoy sent by Duterte. Okay, and they said that there is an agreement on a new model for handling the situation. But again, there's no record of this. No? Still, it's another gentleman's agreement. No, and then they changed the description into a temporary special arrangement, which again raises the question: if it's temporary, why are you trying to make it permanent? Okay, so that didn't stick again. Okay, so they changed the story again. Lately, it was now there was an agreement with the admiral, with an admiral who was in charge of the Western Command, and supposedly this was approved by the Secretary of Defense and Secretary of the National Security Advisor. And they even tried to come up with a supposed transcript of a recording. No? So again, it changed the story. The parties changed again, but there's still no real record. Now they try to present some kind of record, but when you think about it, if there is such a record in the first place, it's a crime to make that record because it's wiretapping and still illegal here in the Philippines. Or if it's not true, then you're fabricating a deep fake audio, which is again illegal. So, so it's really gotten so ridiculous. No? The stories have been changing, parties have been changing, and always there's no proof. There's nothing on record anywhere which would show that there was ever any kind of an agreement. So I think it's all just again, all just part of the psychological warfare, the cognitive warfare. They're trying to shape the narrative so that the Philippines and the government will not have any confidence in its positions, so that they would then concede, to them.
Well, the Chinese Communist Party takes agreements very seriously. I mean, like when they were signatories to the UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, that's very serious.
And
The
when Xi
Hague
Jinping
ruling.
promised Obama almost a decade ago that he would not militarize the South China Sea.
Yeah, that was a serious gentleman's agreement. So, I can see why the CCP takes this so seriously.
Yeah.
How can you tell when a communist is lying? When they're talking.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They keep trying to make us comply with supposed unwritten, non-binding, non-formal agreements, while they don't hold up to their own written and publicly announced commitments. So, like that commitment not to militarize the islands. A year later, it's militarized. Back in 1999, when they took mischief reef, Wang Yi, who's now their foreign minister, and I was present at that meeting, he said that these facilities were supposedly only for fishermen, and that they would be for civilian purposes only, and that they would even be open for joint use with the Philippines. Now it's a full-blown military base. So where's the commitment there? No? And then you had all these other instances like the declaration of conduct, especially, which has they totally and completely violated when they built these artificial islands. You know, that's the record.
Well, I think this is one of the reasons it's so good, the strategy the Philippines has taken to just expose these things, because so many countries around the world think, oh, we can still work with China, we can make agreements with them. But if you look at what they do, you can tell agreements with China mean nothing.
Yes.
I mean, no, they do mean something. They mean that you have to follow the agreement, but they are free to not follow the agreement. Yeah.
Yes, that's true, and that's why it's really I've been on this issue for what, more than 25 years now, and I've seen how the story evolved. So I'm so jaded. I'm so jaded now about anything that they say or do. So the only way to really understand what's going on and understand intentions and plans is to just look at what they're doing, not what they're saying. And it's clear to me that what they're doing is really to try to ease the Philippines out of its own waters and really dominate the area.
I think it just reveals the paranoia of the communist mindset. Like you mentioned, like this is their fear is that U.S. Filipino relations will be a threat to China's southern border. Like this is just this kind of delusional paranoia of like, oh, if we allow this to happen, we're vulnerable because obviously everyone wants to fight and kill each other. So
Well, I
we
mean, I
have
think
to.
it's because they often accuse other people of doing things that they're doing. So, in their mind, like often, when they say things like, "Oh, these protests in Hong Kong are supported by the U.S." They're secret, the CIA secret, but like they also support, efforts to undermine other countries in their own. So they're seeing they see monsters everywhere because they do these monstrous things themselves.